Hi Year 5, welcome to today's English lesson. In today's lesson we're going to be looking at parenthesis. Parenthesis is when we add extra information to a sentence and the original sentence still makes sense without it. Let's look at an example. This is my original sentence, the lost thing was found on the beach. And now I've added some extra information about the lost thing using parenthesis. The lost thing, a strange red metal creature, was found on the beach. So we can take that extra information out and the sentence will still make sense on its own. When we use parenthesis, we have a choice of what punctuation we would like to use. We can use commas, brackets, or dashes. Commas are used very often because they don't draw much attention to the extra information, so they don't break the sentence up as much. The lost thing sat, looking out of place, surrounded by people. Try adding some extra information to this sentence using commas. The lost thing turned out to be quite friendly. Pause the video now and have a go. There are loads of different possibilities, but I've decided to go for the lost thing, when I spoke to it, turned out to be quite friendly. So when I spoke to it is the extra information and I can take that out of the sentence and it will still make sense. Brackets are used to draw more attention to the additional information. The reader knows that they're being told something extra, like this example. The lost thing, making itself at home, sat on the roof with us. Try adding some extra information to this sentence using brackets for parenthesis. The lost thing stayed in the shed. Pause the video now and have a go. I decided to write, the lost thing, now full of food, stayed in the shed. And we can also use dashes for parenthesis. Dashes are mostly used in informal writing. They break up the sentence more than commas or brackets and draw even more attention to the extra information. People walked past the lost thing as it clanked and creaked, without a second glance. Try adding some extra information to this sentence using dashes. The lost thing looked sad as we waited. Pause the video now and have a go. I decided to write, the lost thing, my new best friend, looked sad as we waited. So my new best friend is the extra information and I can take that out of the sentence if I want to. Your English home learning for today is to practice adding extra information to sentences using parenthesis. Remember that you can use commas, brackets or dashes. You'll find a worksheet with sentences on the Year 5 English page of the school website.